She was sitting quietly on the hard plastic chair, the familiar echo of music and counting filling the dance studio. Gina watched her daughter, Evie, move across the floor with practice steps focused, determined, glowing. Pride swelled in her chest, the kind that sneaks up on you without permission. Evie paused for a break. She wiped her forehead, smiled, and walked toward her mother. Then she stopped. Mid-step, frozen. Her face drained of color, her eyes widened, fixed on something Gina couldn't see. Evie, her mother asked, instantly alert. But Evie didn't answer. She slowly raised her arm and pointed toward the window. Gina turned. Outside the glass stood a teenage girl peering in quietly. She wasn't smiling. She wasn't waving. She was just staring, watching, as if she already knew what she was looking for. And in that instant, Gina's breath caught, because the face looking back at her wasn't unfamiliar. It was impossible. And yet, there she was. For 18 years, Gina Kratz had told herself she'd made peace with the hardest decision of her life. She was married now. She had a loving husband, 3 children, a full home, a good life. But some choices never stay buried. At 19, Gina had stared at a plastic pregnancy test in her parents' bathroom, the double red lines burning into her memory like a warning. She wasn't ready. She knew it. No job, no stability. Still a child herself. After months of agonizing nights and whispered prayers, she made a choice that tore her in two. She carried the baby, she held her, she named her, and then she let her go. Adoption. It was supposed to be the right thing, the brave thing, the loving thing. She wrote a poem that night, My Little Butterfly, and promised herself that if she couldn't raise her daughter, she would become someone worth finding someday. Years passed, life moved forward. Marriage, children, laughter. But the missing piece never truly disappeared, and now it was standing 6 feet away, separated only by a wall of glass. Gina's heart pounded, shock gave way to fear, then hope, then hesitation. What if she didn't want to see her? What if walking outside meant watching her walk away forever? Inside the studio, Evie stared between the girl and her mother, her hands trembling. She knew that face. She'd seen it before in photographs tucked carefully away at home. A sister she'd never met. Fate had brought them to the same place at the same time. The only question left was, would Gina have the courage to step outside? Gina stood there, frozen, her heart pounding so loudly she was sure everyone could hear it. Every instinct screamed at her to run outside, to close the distance in a heartbeat. But fear held her back. What if this wasn't the moment? What if the girl turned away? She took a breath, then another, and finally, she opened the door. The girl was still there. Up close, the resemblance was undeniable. The same eyes, the same tilt of the head. 18 years of questions collapsed into a single second. Gina's voice shook. Are you happy? The girl nodded instantly. Yes. That was all it took. They stepped forward at the same time and wrapped their arms around each other, clinging tightly, as if letting go might erase the moment. Gina pulled back just enough to look at her, really look at her, and tears streamed down her face. I think about you every day, Gina whispered. I know, the girl replied softly. I've always known about you. Her name was Kaylin. Her adoptive parents had never hidden the truth. Every year, they'd shared letters, photos, updates, proof that love doesn't disappear just because distance exists. Gina had watched her grow from afar, always wondering who she would become. And now she was here. They talked for what felt like minutes and hours, laughing, crying, staring at each other in disbelief, caught between the past they couldn't change and a future suddenly wide open. Inside the studio, Evie watched from the window, her hands pressed to the glass. She wasn't confused. She wasn't afraid. She was smiling. Later, numbers were exchanged, messages sent, a fragile bridge rebuilt piece by piece. No pressure, no promises, just honesty. For Gina, it wasn't about reclaiming the past. It was about honoring it. I didn't give her up because I didn't love her, Gina would later say. I gave her up because I wanted her to have a life, and now I get to be part of it. Kaylin felt it too. She'd grown up surrounded by love. But meeting Gina filled a quiet space she hadn't known how to name. 2 lives once separated by sacrifice, now standing face to face. Not as strangers, not as regrets, but as proof that some connections never fade, they only wait for the right moment to return.